guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today we are going to be kicking off a new series called Ask Abby. The inspiration for this video actually came from you guys, so thank you so much. I have seen a lot of comments asking if I would ever film a video where I just sit down, listen to viewer questions and stories, and give advice like a best friend or a big sister, and I loved that idea. I feel like I also see a lot of requests for more personal videos like my life update videos or chit-chat get ready with me's. And I feel like this is the perfect way for me to continue to bring you guys videos that are a little bit more personal than all of the rest of my beauty videos without needing to sit down and film an entire life update, because not enough changes in my life to post life updates more often. And then I get to do a personal video that also incorporates you guys and skincare and makeup, because I will be applying both of those things on camera and filming this video get ready with me style. That's why we are extra zoomed in and close up here today. I'm actually still in my PJs. It is a Sunday right now. I don't normally film on Sundays, but I am pre-filming, so I'm gonna be back home in a couple of weeks. So I was like, you know what? Let's leave the PJs on, let's film, let's get comfortable. But I know that not everyone is into videos like this, and that's totally fair. So I don't want this series to take away from my normal beauty content at all. So what I'm thinking is I could start off by posting videos in this series once every 2 months, like part 2 would go up 2 months from now, if that works for you guys. So please keep me posted on your thoughts and feedback after watching this video in the comments below. But I am super excited to kick off this series and this video here today. We have a lot of really fun, juicy questions from you guys. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, some water maybe if that's what you need in your life, and let's just dive right into it. I feel like everyone's gonna ask why I'm not using my Buffet Plus Copper Peptide Serum. I just ran out of it, so we're gonna use a different serum here today. Do you think attraction can grow? I matched with my neighbor from growing up on the apps, and he's super sweet, and we went out a few times, but I'm not initially super attracted to him. Thoughts? This is so tough, and something I've actually been talking to my friends about recently, because, by the way, I did actually end things recently with the guy that I told you about in my last Get Ready With Me video. I have nothing bad to say about him. I just decided that it wasn't the right fit for me. So anyway, this is really tough because I do 100% think that attraction grows in every relationship that I have ever been in. I 100% became more attracted to the person as I got to know them better and as we dated longer. But I think about it, and there was also plenty of attraction to begin with in the first place. I just think it's really difficult for attraction to grow if that attraction isn't even there initially. You know, like, there has to be somewhere from that attraction to grow from. I would say that if you've already been on 3 dates with this person, because what you said, a few, so 2, 3, 4 dates with this person and you're still not feeling attracted to them, oh my gosh, hair in my eyeball. It's probably not going to just then happen and like pop up out of the blue. If this were me and I gave it a fair shot, went on a few dates, and I just wasn't feeling attracted still, I would move on. Hi, Abby. Friendships in your 20s. How do you navigate it? I have a 4-person friend group, and my best friend no longer wants to be friends with another friend in our friend group, and I am not in the same boat. She sometimes makes me feel bad about not going about this in the same way and wanting to continue a friendship with this friend. How do I navigate this? I've actually been in a situation just like this, but flipped, where I was the person who didn't want to continue a friendship with someone because of a falling out. And some of the other friends in my friend group, of course, wanted to continue their friendship with her. I mean, hopefully I wasn't making anyone feel bad about wanting to continue their friendships, and that wasn't what the tension was about. I just think it was a generally tense situation because it was complicated. There was a lot going on. I'm trying to mix 2 shades on the back of my hand. Gross. The advice that I would give is what I wish would have happened in my situation, and that's to just be super upfront and honest with your friends so that you can figure out a plan forward. But I would make sure to approach the situation from a place of love rather than a place of frustration with them. So for example, instead of saying, hey, you've been making me feel really bad about hanging out with this friend, you could say, hey, I really love you and your friendship is super important to me, and I feel like like this situation is creating a lot of tension, and I want to be able to figure out a way for us to move forward so that we both feel good about it and so that this doesn't affect our friendship. You know, because then that shifts the blame away from the person and doesn't make it a problem about that person where they're going to feel bad or feel like they need to defend themselves. Instead, it shifts it to problem solving from a place of love. Approach is everything in these situations. How did I just accidentally match myself perfectly without paying attention? And now I have to try to match that on the other side. Oh God. I'm 27 and getting married next year, and my fiance and I are saving like crazy to buy our own place and pay for the wedding. When I was younger, I backpacked around Europe for 6 months. Hello? 6 months, and always told myself I would like to live in the UK for a couple of years to have a different experience. I'm from Australia, but now I'm confused. My partner and I want to save and build up a life so we are financially ready to have kids in our early 30s, and if we move overseas, we won't be saving as much, etc. So I have no idea what to do. Do we stay here and build our wealth or move overseas for a couple of years and have that experience? I would say if living in the UK or somewhere else to have a different life experience is something that you have always wanted to do, it's something that has always been really important to you, and you don't think that that will go away, I would totally do that first. I just think experiences like that are priceless. And even though I don't have kids, I know that once you do have kids, that changes everything in your life. And it obviously would be a lot harder to make that dream come true of living somewhere like that for just a couple of years once you have kids, once your kids are here. But on the other hand, if living in the UK was more so just kind of a fun idea, like you're kind of thinking about it like, oh yeah, you know, that'd be fun. I think I would enjoy that. But you know that deep down your true priority is starting a family and being able to financially provide for that family, then I would prioritize that. Because you can always take trips later, you know, versus living somewhere for a couple of years if, again, that's not something that like you think is this deep need that you've always had. Or what you could do is take a shorter term trip there right now and see how you feel. Dating red flags to watch out for. How long do you have? If I'm leaning off to the side weird, I have my mirror set up here kind of at a weird angle. So I'm gonna try to like stay as center as possible. Hopefully I'm not being too distracting. There are so many dating red flags that I could list off, but nobody wants to hear me talk about that for 30 minutes straight. So I'll just try to list off a handful of the ones that I think are glaringly red. You know, the first red flag is if this person is giving you wishy-washy vibes. Like if 1 minute they make you feel like they're super interested and then the next they feel really distant, run. If you're feeling confused, it's for a reason. Next red flag. If you, let's say, go on an initial date or a couple of dates and then they continue to reach out via social media, Snapchat, text, but don't make any real effort to actually see you, run. If they tell you their ex was crazy, or even worse, all of their exes were crazy, I mean, there are obviously exceptions to every rule, and I know that there are plenty of girls that act in crazy ways, but for the most part, I feel like that response, oops, I forgot to put powder on the rest of my face, is such a cop-out. It just completely places blame on the other person in such an extreme way. It's like, okay, so what did you do to make her act crazy then, you know? Next is if they try to move super quickly in the beginning, like within the first few dates, they're already talking about serious long-term plans with you. No, that feels like a green flag, I think, to some people, because it's like, oh my gosh, they're super upfront and like, you know, not afraid to commit XYZ, but a lot of the times that can be a really big red flag. Okay, next, I feel like both of these kind of have the same root issue. So the first is if the person makes jokes at your expense. And the second is if the person maybe doesn't even say it in a joking way, but make suggestions about how to change your appearance. And that's not the same thing as a girl trying to change her boyfriend's wardrobe because he's helpless when it comes to fashion. That's not what I mean. I more so mean if you're seeing somebody who tries to like drop hints about things that they want you to do to change your appearance, like, oh, like you shouldn't wear all that makeup. Like things like that. Whether they're making jokes or trying to change the way you look, I think that both of those red flags are because of insecurity. Like that person is trying to put you down to make themselves feel more secure, or that person is trying to change the way that you look to make them feel more secure. No. Insecurity just breeds so many issues in relationships. I think that for me, those things are major red flags. And also guys who put down other girls as a way of making a joke is so gross to me. Like, where's your respect? I could talk about this forever, but I'll just finish this off with one last red flag, and that is if you have a bad gut feeling. Even if you can't pinpoint exactly what is off or making you feel uncomfortable, if your gut is telling you that something is wrong, listen to it. When I think back on every time that I've had a bad gut feeling in a relationship, in starting a relationship, and just starting to talk to someone, it has literally never been wrong. Ever. Listen to that gut, girl. Okay, my sister, age 28, is in what I would classify as an emotionally abusive relationship of 11 years. A year ago, they had a massive fight, and ever since, they've been going to therapy to try to fix the relationship. She's been telling me about all of the problems that they have and things that he has said and done, and obviously I only hear her side though. Everyone around her wants her to break up, but she's too afraid to make the move. How do I support her but also not lie about how I feel? I have sleepless nights because I'm so worried, but I also understand that it's her relationship and life. I am so sorry that you're going through this. Oh my goodness. I cannot imagine how stressful that would feel as a sister to 3 siblings. Oh my God. I literally would be sick if one of my siblings was in that situation. So I'm so sorry you're going through this. My heart really does go out to you. And these kinds of situations, they're so fragile because if you push too hard and if you're not too honest with her, but if you are maybe super honest with how you feel and those feelings are negative and you're saying those things too often, that can ultimately just put a wedge between the two of you and drive her closer to her boyfriend, which is the opposite of what you want. Or husband. I don't know. It doesn't say. But I do think that there's a way that you can go about this where you slowly and gently start bringing things up to her. I would steer clear of pointing out things that you don't like about him, because that will probably just put her in defense mode and make her feel like she needs to defend him and her relationship. So instead, you could say something like, I have noticed that you just don't seem as happy as you used to, and I'm just really worried about you. I love you. I care about you so much. I'll support you no matter what, but I just want you to know that you can talk to me about how you're feeling whenever you want. I'm always going to be here. That way, it just opens the door for her to come to you, and also will hopefully start to plant some seeds that will make her evaluate her situation and where she's at. Because again, that's not coming from an accusatory place. It's not coming from an attacking place. It's just coming from a place of concern. And I think if you say things like, if it's really true, of course, like, you don't seem as happy as you used to, and I'm just really, really worried, that's going to make her really think about it, because that's about how that relationship is affecting her deep down, you know, versus again, having to defend her partner. Also, I think just spending more time with her and trying to do fun things can be a really good way to indirectly show her that there's so much life out there to live. There's so much opportunity for her, and she's going to be okay if she leaves this relationship. I think that that is a lot more effective and can go a lot longer way than just trying to tell her that, like just trying to say, you'll be okay if you end the relationship. I feel like a lot of the times that can go in one ear and out the other. Next, I have been dating a guy since January. Epic meet cute story. Met on a plane, LOL. But after months, there are things that aren't really sitting well with me about his lifestyle. 1, his job is not that great and he doesn't have a college degree. While not having a college degree is not inherently bad, it limits his potential for a new job/advancement. Also, he works all the time. I feel like his work is more of a priority than I am. 2, his drinking pattern, alcohol. I'm not a huge drinker and he drinks daily, and in fact, he has said that drinking is just part of his day-to-day. I don't love that. And lastly, he vapes. He doesn't have any plans to stop. I'm 30 this year and I don't mesh well with his current lifestyle of substance abuse. And I certainly don't want to raise future kids in that environment. While he's a great guy, I'm just struggling to see the future right now. The big caveat here is that I recently started some meds for anxiety and depression, and the only thing holding me back from ending this is the possibility that I might regret it, that maybe the meds are making me think this way. I don't know, I'm so conflicted, please help. Okay, first of all, Proud of you for starting anxiety and depression medication. I know that that decision can be really overwhelming for a lot of people, but you should be proud of yourself for prioritizing your mental health.
That was a lot darker than I thought it was gonna be. We'll make it work.
I would think that being on anxiety and depression medication would actually allow you to think more clearly about your situation, because anxiety and depression are very, very, I don't know, like all-encompassing feelings. And I feel like they like dominate your mental space basically. So if you were constantly feeling incredibly anxious and depressed before taking medication, then that was probably not really giving you a lot of space to think clearly about your relationship. But now that you're on that medication and it's probably cleared some of those symptoms for you, it does give you more space to think clearly about that. Something a friend told me recently that really helped me is that just because someone is a great guy doesn't mean that he is the guy or the guy for you. There are so many people out there with great personalities, great, characteristics, but that doesn't mean that that person's going to make a great life partner. A great life partner for you is somebody whose lifestyle does mesh really well with yours. And if there are these things that are really bothering you only a few months in, I don't think that they're just going to go away. If anything, I feel like they'll probably just grow over time, and they may be reasons that you end up resenting that person later on. I know that that decision is really hard to make when you're 30 because you probably feel so much pressure to already be married and already have kids, but I promise, you would so much rather wait to get married and have kids with somebody who is going to be a good life partner and is going to be a good father than get married and have kids with someone for the sake of doing that at your age who's not going to be a good fit for you and your family and then have to get a divorce later on down the road. All right, it's going to be a little hard for me to keep doing this while I'm doing my eye makeup, but I'm going to try my best. My coworker seems to be interested in me and I don't know how to tell him I'm not interested in a relationship. I'm starting off my first year of college several hours away from home while he is in his second year of college locally. He asked for my number. I gave it to him 2 weeks later after he asked right before I left for college, and I told him it's if he wants to keep in touch while I'm away. He texted me every day, which was too much for me, so I made it clear to him that I realistically won't be able to do that. I'm afraid when I come back home in like 2 weeks that he might want to make a move. How can I tell him I'm not interested and want to keep it professional? I don't want to waste his time or my time. Mostly, I don't want to give the wrong idea, but I'm afraid I already have. Okay, I think you actually have a couple easy outs with this one. The first approach you could take is just that you have a rule where you don't date coworkers because you want to always keep things professional, and you're so sorry if you gave him the impression that you wanted more than friendship, but all you're looking for from coworkers is friendship. Or you could take the distance approach. Since you said your college is several hours away from home and he is back in your hometown, you can just say you're not interested in long distance relationships, not really something that you want to do, so you just like to remain friends. And then I would say just keep out of work contact to a bare minimum, because even if you say those things, if you're texting him all the time, if you're talking outside of work hours all the time, he's probably going to think that you want to be more than friends, even though you said that. Next, any advice for a first interview? I've been wanting to get a job this year. My mom wants me to get one too, but I am terrified. I've always had problems talking to anybody, friends, family, or strangers, and I've never had work experience before. So exciting. Congrats on getting the interview. I will share some tips that I learned throughout business school and then my 5 years in the corporate world. So I would say my first tip is to really familiarize yourself with the job description so that you know exactly what they're looking for, and you can tie in examples of how you have demonstrated the qualities that they're looking for in your life already. So even if you haven't had a job before, you could tie in experiences from school, academic settings, clubs, sports, volunteer activities, anything like that. So it's like, yep, I already am like that. I already do those things. Next is to always have 3 questions prepared to ask them at the end of the interview. In every interview I've ever been in, they always end with, okay, do you have any questions for me? And something that you can do that can go a really long way is to do some research on the company, on current events, see if there's any recent news articles so that you can ask questions related to those things. I think that that shows that you took the initiative to spend some time researching the company and that it's something that you really care about. And then my last tip would be basically to fake it till you make it. Even if you don't feel confident, try your best to pretend that you do. Firmly shake their hand when you introduce yourself, maintain eye contact throughout the entire interview, throw your shoulders back, have nice posture, sit up tall. Those subtle nonverbal cues can make a really big difference in how you stand out in the interview process against other candidates. All right. Hi, Abby. Thank you for all you do for your YouTube fam. I have been watching you for close to 2 years now. I love that. Thank you so much. Do you feel that being part of the influencer and beauty community has led to any negative changes in your life? For context, right after college, I was an NBA dancer. So cool. I used to be a dancer as well. Not for the NBA, but growing up. Okay, I used to be an NBA dancer for a year where many of my colleagues were also pageant girls or wannabe influencers. I felt like my priorities became social media, parties, networking with socialites, and constantly scrutinizing my appearance. Half my life was spent in front of the mirror and always doing hair and makeup to get ready for games or parties. I really lost myself at the time and even ended my college relationship. Maybe it's because I was still in my early 20s, but I'm not proud of the things that I chose to prioritize and wonder how you stay grounded and true to yourself given your career. Thanks, Abbey. You've always been an inspiration. Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. So as it relates to things like only caring about my appearance, networking, worrying about socialites or influencers or anything like that, I can genuinely say that I really have not experienced any of that. First of all, I've just always loved beauty, so YouTube hasn't changed that. That's like the reason why I started YouTube in the first place. But I also think it has a lot to do with my age, because I think about if I had started all of this when I was a lot younger, fresh out of college, I do think that I probably could have gotten sucked into that whole world. And I think that just has a lot to do with not having confidence when you're younger because you're not fully sure of yourself. But now I'm like, I know exactly who I am. I'm confident in who I am. I don't feel the need to worry about networking with other creators or getting into certain influencer events because I just genuinely don't care. Not to say that that can't happen with anyone that is in their mid to late 20s or older on social media, because we definitely have seen that, but I feel like that is why we see this the most with younger content creators. Or maybe it's just not me and I'm just a Minnesota girl at heart. So none of that has been an issue for me, but to answer your original question about whether or not social media has led to any negative changes in my life, I do think that it has, and it just relates a lot to the specific situation that I'm in, and that is dating and making new friends. When I left my corporate job, I never considered what that would mean for me to be a full-time content creator or influencer when it came to dating or making new friends, because I was still in a relationship with my ex when I left my corporate job, and I was still in Minnesota with all of my friends who already knew me. So now I'm like, dang, yeah, it would have been really nice to be able to move to Chicago with just a normal job so that I didn't have to worry about people looking me up on social media before we even met. Like, that honestly really does suck. It is something that bums me out that people can look me up and watch my videos and make judgments on me before they even actually get to know me, especially when it comes to dating. Like, the fact that I could go on a few dates with someone and then they find out what my job is, because obviously I'm not going to lie, and then they can just run over to YouTube and watch any video of mine that they want. That makes me feel so uncomfortable. Like, that's just not a normal dynamic. That's not a normal thing that people have to worry about in dating. And it's not like I have videos out there that I'm embarrassed of or ashamed of. I just think it's a weird thing that a lot of people are not used to yet. And a lot of people have judgments about what that means to be an influencer. I think a lot of people assume that being an influencer means one type of thing. And I don't feel at all that that's who I am. Like, I think that what I do from a beauty standpoint is quite a bit different than what a lot of people assume an influencer is, if that makes any sense. That's not like me trying to brag about myself. I just don't think that what I do represents that preconceived notion. And I actually experienced that in my last situation with the guy that I was dating before. He told me that when he first heard about me, he was like, oh my God, she's an influencer? Like, absolutely not interested, not my thing. And then he got to know me and was like, oh, you're literally nothing like I thought you were gonna be. And I'm like, yeah, that literally proves what I've been worried about this entire time. And in that situation, we met through a friend. So like, I think really the only reason that he gave it a chance initially is because he knew my friend and was like, okay, well, obviously she can't, you know, be all that bad if you're friends. But yeah, now that that situation has ended, that does really stress me out because the people that I'm going to be dating are probably not going to be people that I have connections with for them to kind of like vouch for me, if that makes sense. And I just really don't like that one bit. So I would say that that's probably the biggest way that I feel social media is negatively impacting my life right now. You guys, every time I do videos like this, I get a line of foundation or like tinted moisturizer, whatever I'm using on my lips, and I'm like, how long was that there? Okay, last, how do I know when to leave a long-term relationship? I'm engaged to a multimillionaire who is 20 years older than I am. This is so much harder than I thought to do all of this while doing makeup. He publicly professes his love for me and takes care of me financially, but after 6 years, I'm not sure I want to get married. I feel pressure from family and friends because of the financial implications, and considering all men are garbage, maybe it's just my mindset. Okay, I know it's easy to fall into the mindset that all men are garbage, but I don't think that that should be the reason that you stay with someone. I really think that after 6 years, you should know in your heart if that person is who you want to spend your life with. And if you don't, it's probably time to walk away. And that's great that he's a multimillionaire and can provide for you financially and maybe in other ways by professing his love. But like, how do you feel? Because I feel like that's what's missing from this entry. Like, nowhere in this do you say that you love him. I would ask yourself, if you got rid of him being a multimillionaire, of money being part of the equation, and maybe other ways that he can provide for you, if you got rid of those things, how would you feel? Would you still love them? Would you still want to spend the rest of your life with that person? Would you want to have a family with that person? I'll wrap this up with a quote that my best friend said to me when I was living back in Minnesota, going through all of my crap. It has always stuck with me, and I think that it's really true. It's kind of related to like what I was saying earlier with your gut and trusting your gut, but she said, if you're asking, you already have your answer. And on that note, we are going to wrap up this video here. I really hope that you enjoyed, let's call it episode 1 of Ask Abby. Please let me know in the comments below if you would like this to be an ongoing series, because I would definitely be down to do that if that's what you guys want to see. I'm going to leave a form in the comments below where you can submit your anonymous stories and questions for the next video if we do this again. And if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that notification bell, and send my channel to a friend who you think would enjoy my videos. Thank you so much for doing those things. Your support means the world. Thank you for watching my videos. I love you guys so much. Make sure to stay tuned for my next one because that will be up in a few days. But until then, I hope you have a great few days.